If you've ever wanted to build really good-looking, responsive websites and build them fast without having to write every single line of code from scratch, you are in the right place. Today, we're doing a quick explainer on Bootstrap 5. This is the toolkit that literally powers millions of websites all over the world.
You know the feeling, right? We've all been there. You spend hours making something look absolutely perfect on your big desktop monitor, and then you pull it up on your phone, and it is a complete and total mess. That right there is the fundamental challenge of building for the web today.
And let's be real, building for the modern web, it can be a real headache. It's not just about one screen anymore.
I mean, think about it. You're not building for one screen size. You're building for potentially hundreds. You've got phones, tablets, laptops, giant monitors, and you have to make sure your site works across all of them, in different browsers, all while loading super fast. Doing that from scratch every time? It's a huge task, especially when you've got a deadline looming.
So how do we deal with this? Well, this is where our hero Bootstrap enters the story. The best way to think about it is like the ultimate pre-packed toolkit for anyone building a website.
So what is it exactly? Well, at its heart, Bootstrap is a massive head start. It's a totally free library of CSS and JavaScript that handles all the boring, repetitive parts of web design for you. And crucially, it's built mobile first. What that means is every single piece of it is designed to look great on a small phone screen right out of the box. You then just adapt it for bigger screens.
Okay, so what's actually in this toolkit? Well, it breaks down into a few key things. It all starts with the responsive grid system. That's kind of the skeleton of your entire site. Then you start adding the flesh, which are the pre-styled components, like buttons or nav bars. For all the little tweaks, you use utility classes. And finally, you can add some life to it with interactive JavaScript plugins.
Let's start with the most important tool in the entire kit, the grid. You can think of this as the architectural blueprint for your whole website structure.
You see, pretty much every layout you're going to build in Bootstrap is based on its powerful grid system. It's the magic that lets you put your content into rows and columns and then watch them automatically rearrange themselves for different screen sizes. And under the hood, it's all powered by a modern CSS technology called Flexbox, which makes it incredibly powerful and honestly pretty easy to work with.
So how does the grid know when to rearrange everything? It uses these things called breakpoints. Think of them like checkpoints for different screen sizes. You just tell your layout something like, hey, you're going to be one column on small screens, but as soon as you hit the MD or medium breakpoint, I want you to snap into a two-column layout.
And here is a perfect, simple example. On a small mobile screen, we use a class that tells both columns A and B to take up all the space, so they stack on top of each other. But then we add another class that says, hey, on medium screens and up, I only want you to take up half the space. And boom, just like that. They sit side by side. No complex code, no math, just a simple descriptive class.
Okay, so we've got our blueprint down with the grid. Now it's time to grab the actual building materials. And in Bootstrap's world, that means components and utilities. So components are basically pre-built pieces of a user interface. Let's take this card. You see these all over the web. Instead of writing, 20 or 30 lines of your own CSS to make this look right, you just use a few predefined classes. You just type .card, .cardBody, and so on, and Bootstrap handles all the styling, the padding, the borders, everything. It's just incredibly fast.
And speaking of fast, let's talk about utilities. If components are like the prefabricated walls of your house, utilities are the power tools you use to make quick adjustments on the fly.
Utilities are these tiny, single-purpose classes that let you make styling changes right there in your HTML. Need a little more space on top of an element? Just add mt-2. Want to give it a green background? Just add bg-success. It's a way to make dozens of tiny tweaks without ever having to jump over to your CSS file. Now here's a question that always comes up. But don't all Bootstrap sites look the same? And the answer is a huge, resounding no. This next part is all about how you make it your own.
You see, Bootstrap is designed to be customized. The absolute simplest way to start is to just add your own blank CSS file right after you link to Bootstrap's file. Because of the way CSS works, it reads from top to bottom, your styles will always take priority. They'll always win. It's that simple.
And this slide shows that exact principle in action. On the left, you've got the default blue button that comes with Bootstrap. But on the right, with maybe 1 or 2 lines in our own custom CSS file, we've completely changed the background color to red to match our own brand. We get to keep all the other nice styles Bootstrap gives us, but we get to put our own stamp on it.
All right, let's bring this all home and really talk about the core advantage of using something like Bootstrap. Before we get to the final summary, though, I want you to remember just one number: 12. If you don't remember anything else about the grid system, just remember 12. Every single row you create gives you a flexible 12-column layout to play with. It's the simple, beautiful secret behind all of Bootstrap's responsive magic.
So, what's the bottom line here? It's all about speed and consistency. Bootstrap dramatically speeds up your development time. You get that powerful grid system for all your responsive layouts, you get ready-made components that save time and keep your site looking consistent, and you get utility classes for making super fast styling tweaks. It gives you a huge head start, but it always leaves you in the driver's seat.
Which really just leads to the final question. Bootstrap gives you the toolkit, it gives you the blueprint, and it gives you the power tools. The only thing that's missing is your next great idea. So what are you going to build with it?